Hey there, I'd like to give you my Lyme disease story from the start as quick as possible. So here I start. When I was 13, I got bit by a tick playing in the Bay Area in some tall grass, playing hide and go seek with some friends, possibly hiking out there in some trails that were overgrown. And so we pulled the tick off of out of my armpit, and I couldn't actually see it. So somebody had to pull it out with some pliers or something, or possibly tweezers. But I remember that. But they said if you feel sick, just go to the doctor, and that's where I went wrong. That's probably where I could have got treatment. I think it's called deoxycycline, where you get a couple weeks, 3 weeks or so of antibiotics, and you should be good. However, I did not get that. Instead, I just took the tick out and went about my business. Next thing I noticed, around then, I started having a lot of doctor's visits. The first visit was feeling faint, dizzy when I was stood up. After sitting there watching TV for a while, I stood up, and I felt weirdly dizzy, like I had to sit back down. Not like dizzy, like I don't know. If when you're a kid, you can stand up, and then when adults say like how do kids have so much energy? But there was one point where I noticed all of a sudden that I did not have any energy. All of a sudden, it was like I grew up all of a sudden and got old, like while I was watching a TV show. Careful with TV, kids. It'll rot your brain. And even this, you don't even want to watch. That's why I'm all like silhouette. This is the sunset in the background, kind of. See sunset and a Burger King logo. I'll edit that out. No product placement. Here, I'm not even in Burger King parking lot. Then again, I don't get very good Wi-Fi. Well, now it's too slow. I have to edit this out. Sorry guys about the story is a really long one, so I was trying to make it short. Anyway, the second thing that happened after I got the dizzy standing up problem is I had to go through what was the second problem? I should have wrote this down. I've started feeling I got this really extreme case of poison oak where my whole face swelled up with my eyes got swollen shut, and my friend got that same thing happen. We were kind of, I don't know why poison oak was so much worse, but we played in the forest a lot, so anyway, poison oak might have hidden, actually. If we would have got a bullseye rash, a poison oak would completely cover that up. And when you're in the forest and you get poison oak, you're not going to be looking for ticks as much. You're going to be looking for poison oak. So it kind of makes you forget about the ticks for a little bit. But anyway, so the third thing I noticed, I started feeling a sore throat. Went to the doctor, had it diagnosed and tested. It was not strep throat. So they gave me antibiotics. It helped, but the test came up negative, and the doctor was starting to wonder. So 3 times in a row, I went to the doctor, and they didn't have actual diagnosis. So, with the poison oak thing, it was pretty much they just thought it was poison oak got out of control for some weird reason. I've never had that before or after. Like poison oak get like to the point where it covered my whole body and it just like out of control. I look like a mutant, very much like a mutant. I didn't even want to go into the doctor's office. Anyway, so the next thing, a couple of years, that was about 13, 14, and 15. I had it all written down on this doctor's history sheet my parents had kept track of. So I was able to backtrack. I would never remembered all these actual visits and been able to identify, but having that sheet, it actually had the dates of all these So I was lucky that they kept track. So the next thing that happened around the time, well, a couple times I had problems when I was drinking with my friends. I would get really drunk and pass out, and possibly like just kind of go do crazy things. And then I thought that was pretty normal. But then I kind of looked at my friends and I'm like, well, these guys are pretty normal. Like, I'm acting kind of weird. So I had to kind of figure out that I was not normal. Something was different. Something was different about me. So I thought I was kind of a weird person, random person for a while. But then I started getting these weird tingling sensations around my neck, feeling tired a lot. This is around the high school, end of high school. I would get like maybe a little bit definitely too tired to wake up and go to school. I thought it maybe was because of stress of staying up late, doing homework, smoking weed a little bit. Didn't really do much. I guess I'd smoke a little weed and I would fall asleep, forget to do my homework, and not be able to wake up sometimes. But other times I'd just be ready to go to school, wake up, but I just couldn't get up. So it's like, I understand, there's certain times that I understand what it's like to be lazy or to just not want to get up and not want to go to school. So for a long time I thought I was just 100% just didn't want to go to school and I was lazy. But finally I realized that I did actually want to go to do the things that I wanted to get up and go do. I just couldn't do them because I didn't have the energy. So I started to understand I had to figure out why I didn't have as much energy as other people. They had working hard jobs, not getting as much sleep, and still having more energy. And I was like, well, am I sleeping too much? Do I have a parasite? And I had to go through all these checklists of things until finally keep on going to the doctor. The doctor is not really knowing what to do. Keep checking my insurance. Finally, I went to the doctor and they gave me this weird look. And she kept on asking me, like, what do I do for a job? And, like, what do you... And kept on asking me just questions. And I would ask her, like, you sure, can you test if I have a parasite? Because I feel like I need to eat sugar and just, like, roll over on my side and just pass out. Like, have an uncontrollable urge to just do what a parasite wants. To just live like a parasite host. For some reason, I don't even want to get up. I just want to... like wake up, have a bunch of ice cream, and then go back to bed, and just like can't even sleep on my back. I gotta sleep on my side, and for some reason it's weird. It's like I don't want to digest food, or my spine's getting all messed up. And then I just kind of like looked into the doctor's eyes and realized she's lying. She knows what's going on, but she keeps on asking me questions to try to change the subject and avoid. And I'm like, well. Well, I guess I don't want to get into any kind of questionable material, but wait a second. Insurance, doctors. Okay, this is starting to make sense. Instead, I Googled all of my symptoms at once, and then it led me on this weird voyage into Morgellons and Lyme disease. Realizing and it's scary. You think, wow, do I really have Morgellons? Is the government really making diseases? Well, of course the government's making diseases. We all have seen evidence that even people that are trying to cure diseases, they still have a bunch of vials of a bunch of diseases, and that's how they cure them. They give them to animals and see if they can cure that animal. Or person. I mean, diseases don't really get cured, I guess, by just going out and looking for people with the disease. They often give it to animals in labs, or they test different chemicals on it. I don't know exactly, but I do know that there are quite a few things like that. And there was government labs right outside of where Lyme disease got started up in Maryland, but there's bunch of different types of diseases, and the amount that are put in one tick, each tick has over 100 diseases, so it's almost like a perfect weapon. These people have this weapon. It's like almost impossible to diagnose unless you actually diagnose like all your symptoms at once and get through all the fear of Morgellons and finally figure out that you have Lyme. But anyway, it took me 20 years to figure out I had Lyme, so don't feel bad if you don't figure it out quickly. When I got Lyme disease, I don't even think I had the internet yet, but so it was weird. So, but if you can catch it within 3 to 6 months, you can actually kill it and be healthy. It took me 20 years, so it caused me to lose health, and the only way to have health is for me to, well, at first I had to take a bunch of drugs in order to, with the Lyme disease doctor that I got with no insurance. It cost a lot of money, so I couldn't do it very long, but he gave me a lot of antibiotics at one time, like multiple types of antibiotics, keep on rotating through them to change that one of them was to break up the plaque, the other one was to kill the bacteria, and also there was a couple different diseases that anaplasma, rickettsia, and Bartonella are three of the co-infections that they treated, and they would give me blood tests to show how far they are treating those. And they're good indicators of how the Lyme disease is doing, because Lyme disease gets a lot worse when there's a lot of co-infections active, and in turn, when Lyme gets worse, a lot of co-infections are able to take over more, and the immune system gets completely shut down. It makes you very tired. There were a few more symptoms I forgot to mention that I probably should say. Sneezing, sniffly nose a lot, like almost always had like sore throats or some every once in a while just weird pains. A lot of times weird pains, like in different parts of muscles and even in fingers. Sometimes my finger would hurt, like I would grab something and my finger would hurt, and it's just like, oh, wow, that's a lot of pain in my finger for no reason, or just like I don't know, a lot of times that would happen, like different parts of my body would just like hurt for no reason, and it wouldn't really make a lot of sense. Almost like, oh well, that's a new one, like another problem. So I guess that's about it. I don't know. That's some of the main Lyme disease stories. There's a lot of problems where you have trouble digesting, like stinky farts. Just can't. You get like you throw up from random things. Sometimes you're just like can't wake up. Sometimes a lot of times you can't sleep. You're lying in bed trying to sleep, tossing and turning. Sweats, night sweats, day sweats, just funky smells. Just you get infections a lot. Like you might have. I got like weird fingernail issues. Little slivers of something that looks like under my fingernails. It's like some kind of infection. I don't know. It could just be problems, but I like the blood has a lot of problems with spirochetes in the blood, so it can have blood clots, heart murmurs. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I went to Stanford for a heart murmur, and that brings up the fact that Stanford was doing MK Ultra at the time. So the Lyme disease could be just like what they do in order to test diseases in other places too, where they just don't tell people they have the disease, just have like a control group. What happens if you don't treat it? Like they did that with syphilis in some part of Africa. I think they had not told these people that they had syphilis, and a lot of people died, and their spouses that got it, and their kids got it, and they just didn't tell them. They just told them they had bad blood. Pretty much what they said to me is like, I don't know. You're fine. They just told me I'm fine. Like, you're not sick. I'm like, I'm sick. I can't. My ear. I had an ear infection or sore throat, or just incredible pain in my hip or knee or shoulder or just like ribs. Like I got all these injuries where like I got these. It's just a small injury. Should have gotten better right away, but didn't. It's like really got messed up. But this looks like a pretty long video. I don't know if anybody wants to watch 15 minutes and 30 seconds of this. Another Lyme episode. At least I can do a silhouette of saying, all right, everybody, I'm going back to my Lyme life. Just sitting there waiting for my friend to get off work in a few hours, trying to just give the rest of the world a little story of my Lyme disease before I go away. And I don't know if I really want to deal with the internet because Wi-Fi does actually add to the Lyme disease, and just Dr. Horowitz and he recommends just controlling the amount of Wi-Fi signals in your brain because that can activate mold, and mold can actually cause Wi-Fi. I mean, not Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi can cause the mold to activate the Lyme, whereas if you have low mold and low Wi-Fi, then the Lyme disease seems to be not triggered by these natural dust that gets. I mean, the mold literally is just invisible dust that can get activated by these micro signals, electromagnetic pulses in the air coming from all these microwave emitters, and some of them, it could even be weaponized to get certain people. It's a conspiracy theory. Well, maybe, but if you've heard of smart dust, it's not theory. It's just it's something that people are going through. So if you know about it, you probably already you don't need me to tell you that. But some people have yet to learn about what kind of things that Wi-Fi capabilities and 5G or 6G or whatever that we come upon will be able, like right now we have Wi-Fi 5G for companies, and military has faster Wi-Fi that they use for things like creating dust that has Wi-Fi capability, which means it can go inside of living things, and it can, I don't know, it can do all types of things. It can, I don't know, there's ways to do things like soft kill, where you can basically, if you have like an enemy of some sort, or you piss somebody off, like they target you, do targeting individual, and they or if you piss somebody off that may be a witch, like someone practicing witchcraft, they might pour some ticks on you. They might throw up some ticks in your front yard. Just be like, oh, I gotta throw some ticks in their front yard. Sure enough, you get bit by a tick and get Lyme disease, and they're like, oh, well, they can't blame me, and they can just take your house because it's probably your neighbor. Like, this is the problem is it makes people blame their neighbors too, which is another thing that they want. Kind of, if people like if in warfare, like, you pretty much want to break up families, and Lyme disease does that. It breaks up families to where, like, people kind of scapegoat one person. Normally it's a person with Lyme disease or something, so go through a lot of that. Called crazy. I've been having to go, been called crazy. Had to go to prove I wasn't crazy, which was very hard. I mean, especially when you have Lyme disease and it's undiagnosed, I still had to prove I was crazy. I guess that's enough for another episode. I'm going to leave it at that. But anyway, if you have any questions, I guess it's just a time to start asking questions about Lyme disease, and I'll try and answer them as we go. Thanks for listening. Bye.